This is Frank. He is our operations manager. Also, I've known him, well, your whole life.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about difficult customers. There's nothing that's going to stop it. Maybe here and there.
Right.
So when the job goes wrong and you step in, if you have to step in, what is your approach?
Well, definitely put that myself in the client's shoes because, things, as much as we want to do right by the customer, first thing I think about is this customer being unreasonable? Is it something that is unavoidable? Like, let's say we go into a client's home and they're showing me a picture of a zoomed up bubble on a wall, and I'm like, okay, well, let's look at, hey, I see that you just painted your molding. I see you got a bubble on that too. It's kind of unavoidable, like a drip. Put myself in their shoes, and if it's correctable, definitely see what I could do to correct it.
Cool. Yeah. No, as painters, if something happens with your paint, no matter what it is, whether it's next month, 3 months, a year from now, they're going to blame the painter. I've been down that road. So
Absolutely.
you could paint a bathroom. Happens in bathrooms a lot. You paint the bathroom. Bathrooms have a lot of humidity and no fan sometimes,
Yep.
and the paint fails, and they go right to the painter painted it. Must be the painter's fault.
But
So,
it's also, on the other hand, what was the type of paint on the wall that was painted over? Was it a oil-based paint? Was it a shellac used? There's many different variables that I've learned, actually, from you teaching me, that that could cause headaches down the road. It could cause mud cracking.
so it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of schooling the customer.
Yeah, and those expectations should be set forth when the job is walked through. I guess, would it be walked through on the estimating side?
Hopefully.
Okay, but I know that these are questions that I would ask if I'm walking through a client's home on a pre-walkthrough. Give them that bottle of wine. Say, let's open this. Let's talk about your project. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of times they won't even know it's the client is moving into a home. Hey, I don't know what type of paint has been used. Usually, you could tell if it's like really intricate painting, like I've seen. If it's plaster, if it's what type of paint would you use on plaster? Or well, you could use pretty much anything, right?
Yep.
So,
Plaster issue. So I lived in a house with plaster. So did you.
yeah,
Plaster homes in our area, you'll see all those spider cracks and hairline cracks, and then if it was not explained on the estimate that you're not going to be able to get rid of all these cracks, because usually a homeowner's budget is not going to allow you to spackle the entire wall. If you didn't talk about that expectation and you paint the wall and then you still have these cracks, there's your unreasonable customer who
Yeah.
had a missed expectation.
a lot of times you're going to actually come out with here's another unreasonable expectation. When you go out to a client and they have, hey, let's say I'm the subcontractor. Ryan, I'm here to paint your house. But I notice that as I'm painting, it doesn't say anything about these nail pops. Did you discuss this? Oh, the client will always say, you know what, that is included. Well, really, it's not.
What I found is a customer, most of the time they're getting multiple estimates, and they confuse you, or they confuse us, with estimate number 2 and 3. So another company
That's
could
true.
have promised them something, and by the time we show up, they think that we're painter 3, and you'll hear it all the time. Ryan said,
Ryan said this.
or now
or
John said. So we've been back and forth. I've recorded estimates. We let the customer know that I'm recording, and it's just to help them out when the job starts and to help us out. So there's not a lot of miscommunication. So not trying to hide anything, but it helps clarify. So it goes back to, like Frank said, did the estimator do his or her job?
Yeah.
And then the walkthrough with the project manager or operations manager, and then another walkthrough with the painter, and then another walkthrough when the job's almost done. Hopefully you've caught everything at that point, but you still have unreasonable customers.
Yeah. You're always going to have that. It's just, dealing with those unreasonable customers in a kind, professional manner. A lot of times they're not so kind. But it's just keeping that level of professionalism and putting yourself in their shoes and seeing, what would I do? How would I react? Is this unreasonable? Those type of questions.
When we were looking for the operations manager, and you had seen it a bunch of times, but never reached out, why did you not reach out?
You know what? It was always it was that thing. I've known you my whole life, and it's sort of that that thing that you don't go ask. The Italians coming out. They don't go ask. No, you don't go ask family for money or something. But you know what? I had enough of the corporate world, and it's just not for me. And I was sitting at home, and I'm like, geez, this ad keeps coming up. And all I kept hearing was your dad and my dad's voice. And be like, Sonny, just give him a call. See what he wants. Let's just talk, see what he has to offer. So, yeah, I called him, and I called you, and you were like, good, you're here. But, yeah, it's why is because you want that sense of feeling that you could do this on your own. I've gone to college on my own, online Villanova. I've done so much on my own. I've come from a associate worker up through the director role and in the corporate world, and you just love to feel that sense of that accomplishment, that you've done this on your own. But after that, I've done it, and I was like, you know what? I know with that we could help each other.
Yeah, so Frank was hired. We had an operations manager, but that didn't work out too well. He essentially became a super nice guy and knows what he's doing, but it was just a cluster. We had all employees. It was hard to manage them. He became their leader, but on site. So Frank was hired because we just talked before you were in here about my goal to not be here. So that's why he's here. So I have a great question.
Go ahead.
So you just said to everybody that you do it all yourself. You're proud that you do it all yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But here, you can't.
No.
So do you struggle with that?
Yes, I absolutely struggle with that. So I'm the type of person that I was always taught, you know what? I was always told, well, what I hire you for? That's one of the, if you ever have a chance to read it's called The Minute Manager, right? So in the story of this Minute Manager, it brings you through this process of this guy is trying to find what the Minute Manager process is. And I've always stuck by this, okay? And one of the things that really sticks out in my mind is one of the paragraphs. The interviewer is asking one of the managers who was trained under the Minute Manager, hey, Ryan, I have this question, right? What do you think about this? And the Minute Manager would tell him, well, you know what? That's a great question. And that's really why I hired you, to make these decisions, right? So why don't you make that decision and let's see where you go with it and you could learn from it. But I was always taught, well, I hired you to do this job, just go out and just do it. That's kind of why I'm so stubborn, is because I was always taught to just go out and do it. And it didn't even go, it not even in the field of management, it was always in production too. I had that sense of lead by example, right? And that's how I brought up a lot of my leaders under me. So they would see how I would react. Let's say if a associate wants to become a lead, right? I would say, all right, John, what do you think a lead does? Well, it tells people what to do. Well, that's really not what a lead does, right? So I would take them through the process and show them. So lead by example. So I would jump in and I would help out. And, I would bag, I would box, I would operate machinery. But it's showing that sense of urgency so it spreads. You know what I mean? If it makes any sense, the sense of urgency is something that it's addicting. If your people see you having that sense of urgency, they're going to be like, why is my boss working harder than me? So I'm going to work harder than him because I want to be there. I want to be that guy one day. But now I'm in a role, but it's to kind of guide and bring up through coaching and not always being the one that actually is there running up the ladder. It's not going to happen. But, it's using more of mentality to guide.
So it was a definite transit. So Frank came in at a time where we didn't have an operations manager. We had semi-quasi production managers and an admin maybe doing some of the project manager stuff, but doesn't want to go out in the muck. Mm-hmm. And you were used to doing it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm used to being in control. So it's a relationship that it's just slow. So, like, it's not leaving anytime soon, hopefully. So it's a slow one as I train him not on really how to do things, but the mentality of why are we doing that.
And that's great. Well, that's a great question for you. Is what is your mentality like as an owner to give up that sense of, hey, I'm just going to do it?
Give up?
Yeah. That's one of the hardest things to do.
Well,
right? How is your mentality set towards achieving that goal?
We talked about this earlier, and it was, what my goal was, mm-hmm. And I'm doing. I don't have my iPad here. The information that I sent you on the delegating tasks. Mm-hmm. So I'm following this process on how to choose the things that I really love to do, the things I'm really good at doing, and then the muck I don't want to be in, or the tasks that maybe aren't for you or for me. There may be lower valued tasks for somebody else. So it's organizing all those, but it's, at the same time, training you. I mean, we have a lot of training. He can simply go on and do training, but it's more the, why would I say that to somebody?
Yes.
Or why would I hire somebody the first time I met them rather than interview 10 people? We just went through that. So why would I do that? So it's just kind of not trying to mold you into me, but letting you do your style with maybe me in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Then the question came up was, what am I going to do when I'm not doing all that?
That was my
I
next
have no
question.
idea. I have no idea. So, but I like doing this, and I like advising. So I have to get over the controlling / advising. Less control, more advise.
Okay.
That's the goal. Has it been a struggle working with me?
No,
Really?
no. I'd be honest with you.
Are you? So we talked about how fast I make changes.
That's a struggle, because I was always taught if your boss tells you to do something, you do it. And how many times have you told me to do something and it's done, right? And after a while, it's like, hold on, you cannot. If I tell you to do things, you got to at least let me sit on it for a couple days. And now it's like, if you tell me to do something, you could tell the sense of urgency depending on what it is. But certain things, it's like, yeah, I'll let them sit on that.
Yeah, I'd love to give the guy a shout out for his book. It's Michael Hyatt, Free to Focus. That's the name of the book. Good book. I know that confusion. I know that he's having that confusion, and it confuses me sometimes. It definitely is an issue on the administrative end. Again, just different personalities, and prioritizing the tasks on the value that they are. But he has a system that I sent to you on the different levels of delegation that you'll be using for
1
other
through
people
5.
too. 1 through 5. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but they were, one was
Do as I say.
do as I say. That was not. Do you know them off the top of your head?
I know the first one.
So one is I delegate it, and he just does it as exactly as I say it. Another one was here's the task, investigate it, and then report back to me, and then we'll make a decision. I think the 6th one or 5th one was, here's the task, do it. I don't even need to hear about it.
Yeah.
That was the gist of it. So I'm hoping that clarifies a lot of things and makes you feel better about, doing it rather than, should I do this or should I talk to him, or how much is it? Is it over $1,500 and then I need to go back to him, or do I go to Christina, or does Christina go to me? I get that it's confusing.
Now that we have a basic platform that we could actually circumvent all the questions and prioritize what needs to be answered at a timely manner.
Basecamp.
Yeah, Basecamp.
Shout out Basecamp.
Shout out to Basecamp. So
If you want your logo back here, Basecamp, just send it to us.
But that's one of the platforms that I'm actually enjoying, because now it's like, hey, you know what? I'm not running down the hall and saying, Rye, you know what? I have this idea. What about this? And usually you'll say, we have a process for that. But it's
Does that suck for you?
no, because here's why. Okay, it doesn't suck for me. I'm used to coming up with that process, right? But when I come up with a process, that I get down to the atoms of it. And it's one of my personal goals is to what's our number one goal this year? Simplify, right? So, and that's the thing. So I'm used to going down to the atoms, and it's part of being a Six Sigma black belt. It's like you got to get down to the atoms on the root cause analysis on why. So now it's just like, okay.
Throw it out there and try it.
Yeah. So.
I meant, does it suck? Well, he could probably. I'm gonna switch these roles in a little bit, but like you come up with this idea, anybody. So do you come up with this idea? You get excited about it. You think about it at home, and then you bring it into me, and I squash it. Does that?
No, it doesn't. That doesn't faze me, because you know what? There's always ideas that are going to come along. Now, there used to be a time when I used to really, I used to be so psyched. Back when I was a continuous improvement manager and director, I would come up with these great ideas, and the owner would come in and say, no, no, we don't need to do that. Actually, and I'll give you a little back 1,000-yard view. This was a waste program that would identify what type of waste we were having in the corrugated display plant. And it was up to about probably $1.2 million in waste. He was like, I don't believe that. No, we're fine. It's like, well, you're wrong. I had to swallow my pride and say, no, I'm right, and here's the data that proves it. Because you know what? It's when people are ready, you have that in your pocket to just help that person along. So you kind of get over it.
Yeah, I try not to do that, but my personality is very quick. So sometimes he may say something to me, and I'll say something, I'll squash you. But then a week later, I'll come back and say, I have this idea, and maybe it was your idea. So sometimes I need to do that.
Yeah, stuff like that you can't take personal.
No.
No, because it's just part of the process.
Preston had a good question on how do we keep a good culture here. I think you could probably answer that.
A good culture definitely is having that open communication. So open culture, in my mind, is not letting that black, I like to call it the black demon, get in your head. Now, those of you who have worked in corporate America, it's very cutthroat. That black demon is always who's out to get you, why they're, who's out to take your job. Is management going to replace you with somebody that is younger, cheaper? That black demon is always in your head. But a good culture is open communication. If somebody's not up to par, let that person know in a kind way. If that person needs training, we do what we can to get that person up to be trained. And just having that open communication. No secrets. No secrets. Being very open. Now, and that goes along with no secrets and being open. It goes, another one of my personal goals is, this is for the business end, is, let's say, how many times have you say, what's going on? Nothing, everything's fine. Now, in my mind, I've taken care of A, B, C, and D. But when I'm speaking to you, it's like, everything's fine now, but A, B, C, and D is going on. So it's not keeping secrets, it's just keeping things in my mind. Everything's fine now. I took care of it.
Right, and I know he's not being honest. So that's why I give you that look. Like, I know there's things, because I know the business.
Yeah.
Like, not everything is always fine, because you're dealing with unreasonable people.
Oh, yeah.
Or painters that may not show up, or their car broke down, or the tire's flat, or their mom passed away, and this is the 4th time their mom passed away. I've heard some crazy stuff.
Got lots of mamas.
So no, it's good that you don't.
But
you don't dump it on somebody else. Like
yeah, and it also comes back to that that portion of, I've got it. You've hired me to handle this, but and not dealing with letting you deal with that extra day to day. Do you really need to know this? That somebody's car broke down. So you ask the question. That's a good question. What do I like least about working here? Well, it's hard to say. I would have to say difficult customers. That would be the one thing that as much as it irritates me, that we do everything we can for a customer to, please them, it's still not good enough. That's what irritates me, because I know the value and the cost that goes behind it all, and it's a lot of money to try and rectify something that you're just not going to be able to fix.
Yeah, and that goes back to the estimator missed it. So me or John, we missed that. We didn't ask the right questions to find that out before the job started, and maybe we missed that on the walkthrough, and then the painter missed it. So that goes back to that process that we probably. That's why I say it's not really the customer's fault that they're a jerk. We missed it somewhere along the way.
Yeah, we missed some.
And he's not talking about somebody who's just not happy. You're talking about somebody who's maybe not satisfied, but is a jerk about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, or that person that's trying to get something new out of nothing. Like that customer that wants to get new cabinets. Oh, you ruined my cabinets. It's not our fault that the doors are warped and they're not closing correctly now because they've been on a certain way. And the door is warped. There's thousands of variables, but it's just it doesn't. We remove the hardware, we paint. That's it. We put the hardware back on. It's that simple.
And another commercial. Company Cam. You sent me one shirt like 8 years ago. It'd be nice. We could put one right here. Company Cam app. If you don't use the Company Cam app and you're a contractor, you are missing out, because what he just spoke about, you need to take pictures on the estimate. You need to open up every door and drawer. You need to take a picture of the hinges. You need to take a picture of the floors, because our insurance company came to me like 5 years ago. They did a presentation. I guess there's a big issue with customers not every customer, some customers hiring contractors where they already have damage before the contractor got there.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll blame the current contractor, and insurance companies are very quick just to pay, unfortunately. Yeah. So we've had some instances of new refrigerators, new dishwashers, new floors. It's unfortunate, but you have to protect yourself as a contractor, and Company Cam app is one that works. Free plug.
Right here.
Free plug only this time.
But yeah, it's true. That's why one of our processes is that we have a walkway from where we come in and anywhere we go in the house. It's because, let's say somebody gets new carpets, and even if you're out of the house, you're doing the interior and then move into the exterior, and you have to go to the bathroom. You have to keep that walkway, because you never know when you're going to step in that little puddle and it's going to track everywhere you go. So, and it's important. Always cover your tracks.
Who do you like least in the office? I'm joking. Just wanted to see that look.
Okay.
There's not many of us here. There's Christina, Frank, Preston, myself.
That's it.
John's here.
John's here. He's out in estimating. But who do you like least in the office?
It's not who I like least. It's what do I like least.
Yeah. Well, let's get on that. What do you like least about the office?
So I'll answer that. If you've never done a disc profile, who's that guy, the motivational speaker? Tony Robbins. If you go to his website, you can do a free disc profile. It tells you about your personality.
You are a
high D.
D?
High D.
That's it.
Yeah.
You are solely in that D?
Yeah, low C. So that means I'm good. High D would be good at sales, getting things done real quick. Entrepreneurs would be a high D. Ever changing, quick to change things. I'm not good when I get sent an email this long. I won't read it. I just won't read it. I'll delete it. Conversations need to be right to the point. It's hard to grab me in the hallway and say, "What do you think about this?" Because I'm going to give you an answer I didn't have time to think about. That's what I said. I'll come back. You might not like the answer I give you when you try to confront me that way. You'll get the real answer a day or a week later. So what I like least is when somebody is working on their task and makes it everybody else's tasks, because it makes it hard for me to do my own work. It's very distracting. The door is closed and somebody knocks on it. I walk out and I have a question. Can I ask? I only have a couple questions, and then it's like 15 questions long, and an hour later, I've lost track of what I was working on. And you get into a flow.
Yeah.
So you're working on, what was I working on? I don't know, maybe a document. And I walked out in the middle of it, halfway through, and I just lost the whole flow. And it's hard to get back into what you were working on. It's like if you're at the gym. Same thing happens at the gym.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a set, and somebody either walks right in front of you, when you're looking in the mirror doing your bicep curls. They can walk anywhere else, but they want to walk right in front of you. Or they want to talk to you. I had a guy the other day, I had a Mets shirt on, he had a Mets hat on, I knew I was in trouble. So I'm in the middle of working out, and he wants to talk about the new Mets signing or whatever it was. But I was in the middle of the set.
Oh, yeah.
So then you're done. You might as well just stop, because you can't work out and talk at the same time effectively. Same thing here. And everybody does it occasionally. I'll walk into his room, Preston's room. I keep pointing out it's Preston. I walk into his room. Christina, I know, no offense, Christina, but you're probably the main culprit of that for me. And it's because she likes to get things done. Regardless of what task it is, they're all pretty much the same level of importance to her. And they need to get done, regardless of anybody else's schedule. Preston's slower. He's more methodical. He likes to do things right. So I can understand why if somebody walked into his room, it'll take him out of that flow. I don't think you care.
No.
No, you're pretty easygoing.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
I'll stop. Gives me a break from what I'm doing, and I'll just go right back.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
So that's it.
Unless I'm on a phone call. That's
Yeah.
when it's do not enter. Or go away. I have.
We talk about, I don't know how we can talk about this. We had a girl start a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
She started as an assistant, because I wanted an assistant. She started in a whole bunch of different roles. She was going to answer the phone. She was going to be an assistant. She was great at first. She, would text me. I have all the texts. I saved them just in case. She would text me how she enjoys it and she loves the team and it's a great culture. We trained her slowly because we've been through this before. Don't waste a lot of time because they may leave at any moment. Seemed like she fit the culture. Maybe not. I had some different opinions on the other end of the camera if she fit our culture. Christina trained her for 2 days. And then I had a weird conversation with Christina about her. And she was going to bring up working part-time instead of full-time, even though it was very clear in the ad and in the interview and the whole shebang. And because the reason being she was getting some assistance. I don't want to go into her personal business. She was getting some assistance elsewhere. Mm-hmm. That if she worked, that may end. So I believe she quit the wrong way. It wasn't face-to-face. It was while she was in the office. She texted and just left, which was interesting. I just wanted to know not your political feelings about it, but your feelings about it. At first, because I saw Frank when I saw him.
Yeah, personal feelings, not political feelings. Personal feelings, I get it, but I have done that once before, where I wasn't through text. I was in a very toxic environment. It's not it wasn't toxic. It's nothing toxic here. But that was just my feelings. It was kind of just a coward's way out. You know, it's you could have talked about it. You know, what your issues were. How could we help you with getting over these issues? Because we all have them. You know what I mean? We all have quirks that maybe we don't always know. You know, maybe it's
And little did she know that my wife is a
oh yeah, she's
a case. That's what she does. So
she's a head person. She should like a supervisor.
She's a I hate to say she's a welfare caseworker.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps you get benefits and helps you get money and food and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure she would have given us the right advice on
What to do.
or not to do, or how yes, she probably would have lost some stuff. But
Yeah, but you would have had a better quality of life, you know. Getting out, meeting people, being part of a good team that's, you know, and I just don't say that just because you're here, because it's you don't find this team anywhere. You know, I've been on.
I thought she had it. I think it's a good opportunity for whoever. She's not going to have it, obviously, but I think it's a good opportunity for somebody to come in and be on the bottom floor of that epoxy world.
Absolutely, and that's which is growing crazy right about now.
Yeah. So, tough luck for her, I guess.
But yeah, personal feelings. It's sad. I feel sad for that person. I do.
Well, yes. My thought was, how are you ever going to make something of yourself?
Yeah. How are you going to better yourself? How would you not want to better yourself? I mean.
Hey, maybe we don't even know she didn't like it here. So, and that was just an excuse. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, for somebody not to say, but hey, you like it, you know, give the, I don't like it, I'm out. Why wouldn't you just say, Ryan, I don't like this?
I don't know. Maybe Christina said something to her.
We could cut that out. But you know what? That just, if you don't like something, if I don't like something, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to, you know, not many things that I don't like, but if I have a problem with something, you know, I'll tell you about it, and you'll say, yeah, I didn't think of it like that or whatever, or you'll show me a different light about it, but you know, speak up, you know.
We do talk a lot, and I think you look at me like I'm crazy, but there's always a positive. Even that day,
there was no positive.
There was a positive out of that. There was many positives out of that. We didn't waste any more time training her. We didn't really waste any time. I got to meet her. That's a positive for me. I like to meet people. You know, it's not always negative.
I'm positive that I would never hire the person like that.
Yeah.
That's my positive.
Always stay positive. There's always something good in the bad.
Yeah, I was pretty heated that day. It's like there's no positive in this. There's no positivity. You're like, well, I got to meet her.
Well, maybe she wasn't meant to be. Well, she wasn't meant to be.
No.
Maybe the next person is meant to be. We'll
Yeah.
see. Although my next person didn't show up today, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Pet peeve number 2, if you schedule an interview or any appointment and you promise you're going to be there.
Show up.
Or call. That's all you have to do.
What's the harm of showing up? I don't get that.
Well, for something you have applied to.
Yeah, you took the time out.
Yeah.
You applied to it. There's a waste of time, you know. But
And I go the reverse. Hopefully she's okay. And nothing happened.
Yeah.